So I wanted to share 10 awesome accessories for the M1 lineup of MacBooks, from the M1 MacBook Air all the way to the M1 Max in the MacBook Pro lineup. Some of these items are a little bit older, but they're tried and true, but then some other ones are actually very, very new and very cool. So without further ado, let's start off with the first one, which is my absolute favorite. Let's get into it. So what is going on, everybody? Fernando Silva here with another video, and let's hop right into this video with the very first accessory. So I've actually spoken about this one in the past. This is an external portable monitor by a company called Espresso. So it's espress.so is the website, which I think is awesome and super creative, but they actually sent one of these over a while back, and I've been using it non-stop ever since. It has been my favorite portable monitor out there in the market right now by far. And I've tested a lot of portable monitors in the past, and most of them I used for a little while, and they're a little bit clunky, made out of plastic, the quality isn't great, most of them aren't touchscreen, and then comes in Espresso, which I think is the most top of the line and most quality external display that you can buy on the market right now. So they do claim to be the thinnest portable monitor out in the market at 5.3 millimeters, and I haven't seen one that even compares in terms of thickness or thinness out on the market right now, and it's made out of all glass and all aluminum, so there's no plastic, nothing moves around inside when you shake it, right? And on top of that, it is a full touchscreen display. They do come in two size variations. You have a 13.3 version and then a 15.6 version. The one that we have in the studio is a 15.6 version. It's a 1920 by 1080 display. It gets up to 300 nits of brightness, and you're dealing with about 15.6 million colors on this thing, so the display is extremely quality. Yes, it's an LCD display, so it's not OLED or anything like that, and it's not a 4K display, but 1920 by 1080, so it's full HD, and like I said, it is fully touchscreen. Now, I am talking about the monitor itself, but they have a bunch of accessories like the magnetic stand, which I do have and I love. They do have a dedicated like stylus, which I don't use too often, but it is great if you are doing design work and things like that. And then they have their flip cover, which I usually keep on it most of the time when it's in my bag and things like that. But overall, I love this display. It's very, very bright. It gets the job done. And with a MacBook Air, especially on the go, with one single cable, I can power the display from my MacBook Air with no issues whatsoever. And it's recognized perfectly, even if you don't install the drivers that they do recommend installing. But if you guys do want to find out how to get one of these for free, because Espresso was nice enough to actually say, hey, let's give one of these away to your subscribers, stay tuned to the end of the video to see how you can win one of them, because this thing is absolutely worth it if you guys do want to try it out. And the fact that I can give one away for free is even better to give back to everybody that's been watching and been with us for the last 2 years. But that is accessory number one. It is the 15.6-inch portable monitor by Espresso. Highly, highly recommend it. And I'm going to leave everything linked down in the description below if you guys do want to check these out. So item number two is, now we're going to talk about peripherals and maybe how to connect to this thing. So like I mentioned earlier, it is a single cable solution. So if you have a USB-C to USB-C cable, you can just plug it right into the Espresso. But if you want to have some more stuff in there, I have two options for you, right? So the first one is by a company called Satechi. You guys have heard about them in the past. This is their on-the-go hub, the USB-C hub. It'll work with the entire MacBook lineup, and it'll even work with any USB-C capable iPad Pros, iPad Airs, and now iPad Mini. So what I really like about this Satechi portable hub is that they've thought about everything, especially from a compact standpoint and an on-the-go standpoint. So the first thing you notice is that the USB-C cable is actually built into the device itself and slides right out. So A, you're never gonna lose this thing. It is very, very short, but you don't really need it to be that long, and it just kind of fits right into this little kind of casing or little hub in there for it. And this is a 9-in-1, so you have a USB-C, another USB-C for power, a USB-C for data pass-through, you have a full HDMI 2.1 port, a VGA port, Ethernet, you have two USB-A 3.1 ports, so it does support fast charging and faster data transfer, and then finally, you do have your SD card and your micro SD card slot right in here. So this is a great portable solution if you just want to put something in your bag to bring with your MacBook, to bring with your iPad and things like that. And I just love the build quality. If you guys know Satechi, it does fit into that Apple aesthetic of the aluminum, cool to the touch, very high quality. You know, you shake it, nothing is moving around in there. So highly recommend Satechi and all their products. And we're going to be talking about a couple other ones by them. But another item that I do want to bring up is another hub that's more of a on-the-desk kind of desk setup solution. And I actually made a video on this product in the past about a year ago, and it's still a very tried and true USB-C hub. So this is by a company called Lyre. I don't really know how to pronounce it. It's L-Y-A-R-E. Could be pronounced as Lyre, but I don't really want to pronounce it that way. But this one is a 16-in-1 USB-C hub. So this thing again fits into that Apple aesthetic. It's cool to the touch. It's made out of aluminum on the outside, and it is plastic on the front and on the back. But on the front side, you have two USB-A 3.1 ports, you have a USB-C port, and a 3.5mm headphone jack. But then the magic is when you turn it around and you see that you have an abundance of peripherals. So you have two regular USB-A 3.0 ports, you have two more 3.1 USB-A ports, you have a full VGA, you have two HDMI ports on here, you have one USB-C port for power pass-through, and then you have two more USB-C ports, which I'm going to show some B-roll of the cable that it brings with, because it looks very, very cool. And that is for you to directly plug it in to your MacBook Air or any other Mac in the lineup. Now, they did come out with a version that is DisplayLink ready. And for those people that don't know what DisplayLink is, if you have a 2020 M1 MacBook Air or a 2020 M1 MacBook Pro, just the M1 model, you'll know that natively it only supports one external monitor. So there is a little bit of a bypass you have to do by downloading DisplayLink, which is a driver that works off of one of these, and then you can have more than just one monitor with these MacBook Airs. Now, if you do have an M1 Pro or an M1 Max, or even now the M1 Ultra in the Mac Studio, you don't have to worry about that because those natively support, I think, up to 4 devices or 4 external monitors at once, or maybe even 5. So if you are in the M1 world and you have a 2020 MacBook Air or a 2020 MacBook Pro, then you're gonna need to get yourself a DisplayLink ready hub, and Lyar has you covered with a DisplayLink ready hub in order for you to use multiple monitors when sitting at a desk and working. And then in terms of other peripherals, I keep it very simple. Obviously, you have the trackpad built right into the MacBook Air that I'm currently using, but then also I have my Logitech MX Anywhere S2, which, if you guys have been following the channel, I've had this since the very, very beginning of the channel, and it's my favorite mouse, by far. I haven't really graduated to the MX Master. This is the Anywhere S2, and they do have the S3 now available, and the only difference between the S2 and the S3 is that the S2 charges with micro USB, I know, and then the S3 does charge with USB-C, so that's the only upgrade. But in my opinion, and I've said this before, this MX Anywhere S2 and S3 lineup is by far the cheapest quality mouse that you can buy on the market, because they're around $60, so it's not like getting a $20 mouse that you can throw around. But again, this mouse is absolutely awesome. It is fully Bluetooth, and it has up to 3 different connectivity settings, so you can connect it to your iPad, connect it to your MacBook, and then connect it to whatever third device you want to connect it to. So that is by Logitech, the MX Anywhere S2, and the battery life. Battery life after 2 years is outstanding. And then in terms of what I have directly on my MacBook Air itself, if I flip over the MacBook Air, you'll see that I have a Moft stand. So this Moft stand, if you guys aren't familiar with Moft, I've reviewed a bunch of their products in the past. They're kind of like this origami, super thin style accessory brand that you use with pretty much any product, but they're very focused on the Apple side. So they had their wallet, their MagSafe wallet, which I use a lot and I love, but this one is for the MacBook lineup. So it's basically just a very slim piece of cardboard that you put on the back. There is an adhesive that's pretty easy to remove, so don't worry about it getting stuck on there or leaving any adhesive stuff on the back of your laptop, because it won't happen. Don't you worry about that. But it basically allows you to prop up your laptop at a 15 and then a 25-degree angle, which has been an awesome thing to have, especially when I'm on the go and I don't have my monitor that I'm looking up at, because I like to be able to have a higher viewing angle, especially if I don't have my secondary monitor plugged in. So having this, I usually keep it at that 15-degree viewing angle, but they do have the 25. And it's very, very easy to use, it's very intuitive, and it's so thin that it still fits into any sleeve or case or laptop bag or anything like that, so no need to worry about adding extra thickness, because this thing is like a millimeter thick, if not less. It's like the size of maybe 3 or 4 pieces of paper stacked together, and it works very, very well, and I think it supports up to laptops that are like 12 pounds, which is crazy to think about, because all they're doing is using like folding and angles to make sure that the physics of it from a geometrical perspective can actually hold up the laptop's weight. But that's very cool by Moft, and I had that on there for a little while now. Highly recommended, and they make it for iPads, they make it for laptops, and they have a bunch of other cool origami style stuff that I'll link below. And then the next few things we're going to talk about are all about power. So the first thing we're going to talk about is my RAV Power 20,000 milliamp hour portable battery. So this thing is awesome. It's helped me in a pickle a bunch of times. It has 3 ports on it. So it's got a USB-A port, a USB-C port, and then a full AC port that you can plug in, that you can pretty much plug anything into. So the USB-C port does output up to 18 watts. The USB-A port outputs up to 10 watts. And then depending on what you want to plug in, so you can plug in that 140 watt power brick that you get with the new M1 Maxes and actually get that power. Yes, it's going to suck up the juice of the 20,000 milliamps extremely quickly, but you can still use it for a while. So this, like I said, is 20,000 milliamps. It could charge over your MacBook Air at least twice over with no problem. And even just plugging it in with a USB-C and while using it, it does slowly charge it. It's not super fast. But again, if you do want to plug in an actual brick to it, you're more than welcome to. So I actually combine this, and it's a perfect segue into the next charging solution, which is my 100 watt brick by Ugreen. So if I really want to, I can grab the RAV Power portable battery and then plug in the Ugreen power brick. And then now I have 3 USB-C ports and a USB-A port outputting up to 100 watts if I want to from the portable battery. So if you're ever in a situation where you're at an airport or a coffee shop or a stop or whatever it is, and there aren't any outlets near you, this is a perfect solution for that. And you just leave it plugged in overnight to charge it all the way up. I've had no issues with recharging this thing at all. It's always saved me in a pickle. And if I do find a wall outlet, then I just throw in my 100-watt Ugreen charger, and that thing charges everything from my laptop, my iPad Pro, and my iPhone. So highly recommend getting yourself a brick because there's so many out there on the market. And what Apple sells, yeah, they're kind of nice and whatever, but there's only one single USB-C port. And with the MacBook Air, they only give you a 30-watt brick, which I know isn't the case with the MacBook Pros and then the new M1 Pro and M1 Max laptops. But again, if you're getting just a MacBook Air and you want a little bit faster charging, look at Ugreen. I absolutely love what they've been doing. And then the last two things that I'll talk about are also by Satechi. It's more so to charge your accessories that you use with it. So they have two chargers that I'm showing off here. One is for an Apple Watch and one is for AirPods, both AirPods 2, AirPods 3, and the AirPods Pro. So they're basically wireless chargers. All you do is you plug it into a USB-C port, and then you're charging your Apple Watch or your AirPods immediately wirelessly. So I always love to have those with me whenever I'm moving around, but even at my desk, I like to plug it in, especially for the Apple Watch, because I am on the Series 5 and the battery doesn't last a ton anymore. It gets me through like a full day maybe. But again, overall, I love these accessories, and I highly recommend at least checking one of these out. But if you guys did make it to the end of the video, like I said, there is a giveaway on the Espresso display. So if you guys do want to pick one up, all you have to do is leave a comment down below, say kind of why you would want the display, and leave your Twitter handle. And I'm going to run this giveaway for about 7 days, and then once I get your information, I'll pass it off to Espresso, and they'll ship you a brand new Espresso display directly to your home, which is awesome. So I'll run it for a week. Leave a comment saying why you would use it or how you would use this display. Leave your Twitter handle because that's how I'm going to communicate with you. You don't need to subscribe. You don't even have to like this video. I want this to be for the subscribers that have been around for a while so I can give back to you guys that's been with me for over the last 2 years. I don't want somebody new to come in, kind of subscribe immediately and get lucky and win the display. And like I said, there are 10 accessories that I would call it, but this is kind of an honorable mention. I do recommend getting an iPad when you are in the Mac ecosystem, whether it is the new iPad mini or the iPad Air or a fully loaded M1 iPad Pro. I just think the iPad supplements macOS so well, especially now with universal control. You have Sidecar to give you an extended display if you need some more screen real estate, especially on the go. So I do recommend, as an honorable mention, having an iPad that plays well with macOS. Get yourself a used 8th gen, regular iPad to work with your macOS computer, and it's just kind of a perfect marriage of hardware and software together. I wish that iPads had kind of like a macOS Lite version that we could use to really kind of use floating windows and things like that, but together the iPad and Mac, they just complement each other so well that I had to throw in the iPad as an honorable mention or as the 10th item. But that's going to do it for this video. Like I said, leave a comment down below with why you would want the Espresso display in order to enter for the giveaway. I'll announce the giveaway winner next week in a video on Friday, and then I'll also reach out to them directly on Twitter, and that's all you have to do to enter. But if you guys made it to the end, leave a little dolphin right here. Thank you so much for watching, and if you guys want to watch some more iPad accessories, iPad videos, or maybe some Mac videos as well, click on one of these right here. And until next time, everybody, I'm out of here. Shout out to Espresso Display for sponsoring the giveaway. It's awesome, and you guys are going to really like the display for whoever wins it, and for whoever picks one up. I'm out.